Welcome back to our course. In today's session, we'll explore the art of using and talking about visuals, a crucial skill that separates average presenters from exceptional ones. Building on our previous lesson about presenting numbers, we'll discover how to leverage visual elements to enhance comprehension, engagement, and retention of your key messages. Visuals make your presentations more memorable and reinforce key messages in ways that words alone cannot. While slides are common, your visual toolkit might also include charts and graphs, photos, illustrations, videos, physical props, models, and infographics. The most important factor isn't the type of visual you choose, but how effectively you incorporate it into your presentation narrative. Effective visuals create immediate understanding, reinforce verbal messages, and can help audiences retain information up to 6 times longer than spoken words alone. You should never assume your audience automatically understands what they're seeing or why it matters to your presentation. Instead, you should introduce visuals effectively. First, signal the transition. You can prepare your audience for the visual with a clear verbal cue, such as "Have a look at this chart showing our quarterly results." Next, you should orient your audience. You can explain what they are seeing before diving into details, for example, by saying, "Let me quickly explain what we're looking at. The x-axis represents time, while the y-axis shows revenue." Finally, connect to your message. Explicitly state how the visual supports your broader point by saying something like, "This chart validates my earlier point about our growth trajectory." Once you've introduced your visual, you must guide your audience's attention to what matters most. You can do this with verbal signposting using clear directional phrases like, "I'd like to draw your attention to this spike in December." You can also use emphasis through language. Use powerful modifiers to underscore importance, such as, "This critical finding suggests," or "The dramatic difference between these figures shows." Cluttered slides force your audience to choose between reading the dense visual or listening to your explanation. This cognitive overload reduces comprehension and retention while creating audience frustration. The solution is the rule of 6. For maximum impact, limit each slide to no more than 6 lines of text and no more than 6 words per line. This forces you to distill your message to its essence and keeps your audience focused on your key points. Effective visual design is critical for comprehension. Contrast is important. You must ensure text and background colors have sufficient contrast for readability. For hierarchy, guide the viewer's eye through your visual using size, color, and positioning to indicate what's most important. Consistency in colors, fonts, and styling creates a cohesive experience and avoids distracting the audience. Finally, white space is an essential design element that improves focus and prevents visuals from feeling overwhelming. Even the most prepared presenters occasionally face technical difficulties with their visuals. How you handle these moments can showcase your professionalism and adaptability. To reduce problems, you should arrive early to test equipment, bring backup copies of your presentation, and have a technical contact's information ready. If problems do occur, you can address the issue directly with phrases like, "We seem to be having a technical issue. Let me resolve this quickly," or "Can I ask someone from IT to help with the projector?" Remember that you are the presenter, not your slides. Your visuals should support your message, not replace you. First, position yourself strategically. Stand where you can see both your audience and your visual without blocking anyone's view. Second, maintain eye contact. Look at your audience, not your slides. Glance at the visual briefly to highlight specific elements, then return your focus to the people you're addressing. Finally, use deliberate gestures. Point to specific parts of your visual with purpose and avoid nervous or distracting movements that compete for attention. Here's a practice exercise to help you hone your skills. The challenge is to select a complex chart or graph from your field and practice explaining it to a non-specialist audience in under 60 seconds. Your explanation should include a clear introduction and explanation of how to interpret the data, highlighting 1 to 2 key insights, and a conclusion that connects the visual to your broader message. You can record yourself and assess your clarity, efficiency, engagement, and focus. Practice this with different types of visuals to build your flexibility and confidence. To conclude, here are some key takeaways for mastering visual communication. First, introduce visuals clearly. Signal transitions and explain what the audience is seeing before you dive into the details. Second, guide attention deliberately. Use verbal signposting and emphasis to direct the audience's focus to the most important elements of your visual. Third, follow the rule of 6. Keep visuals clean and focused with no more than 6 lines per slide and 6 words per line. And finally, handle problems professionally. Prepare thoroughly to prevent technical issues, but address them calmly and directly if they occur. In our next session, we'll explore techniques for handling questions and objections during presentations. Until then, practice incorporating these visual communication strategies into your upcoming presentations.